All right, guys, I've had this cape out thawing out, and I believe it's about ready to go. So let's go ahead and see what I can't get going here. All right, let's see what we can get going here. We're gonna do the ears first. Typically start the ears, and then I just work my way down. But I just follow anywhere that I see tissue is pulling. That's where I go along and make my cuts. Same way as when you're skinning one off the skull. Gonna carefully just go through and pick it all off. Typically, right around your ear butts, down towards the base of your eye, and on down the neck a little ways, it's pretty thick. Which you'll notice as you start this and start skinning and everything. And excuse me if you see me moving around too much or going extremely fast. I'm trying to get myself to go as slow as I can where y'all can see what I'm doing, and hopefully I'm picking everything up that y'all can see. So I'm not the greatest at this camera stuff. I'm trying to learn it all, so y'all just bear with me. And what I'm doing is I'm pushing down where my fold and everything is. I'm pushing down, and I just use my finger to pull, to put tension on it as I go. It typically just releases itself as you touch it with that blade. The sharper your knife is, the better off you are. The sharper it is, the less holes you're going to cut. So make sure you've got sharp blades. And then once you get it rolled down pretty good bit, I like grabbing what ear butt is left, and I'll pull, hold it up, and typically what I'll do is the weight of that skin will kind of release itself to a certain extent. Then you've got a little ear gland or hole, whatever they call it. I don't really know the name. Right at the corner of the ear at the bottom. You don't want to cut through it. If you do, it's not the end of the world, but you just want to get it all the way down to the cartilage. Believe it or not, the ears when I first started out was the worst thing I had problems with. It would take me so long to turn an ear. Now we're going to take our ear turners, now that we got it somewhat started. Typically like going kind of in the middle of the cartilage or the middle of the ear. and you're just going to squeeze and split it. Some of these works really easy. Some of these are a pain in a you know what. I tell you what, my darn left hand, I don't know if y'all can see that where it's kind of swollen up. Ain't really best thing for today. I was actually changing the oil in my ski boat. My daughter's having a fit to go to the lake. And taking the oil filter off, my hand slipped. And I don't know what I hit it on. There. That son of a gun is throbbing. So right there I was talking about, this is one of the ones that doesn't want to cooperate real good. Like he may have been damaged. Maybe it's just that leader. Some of these leaders in the ear right there, some of them's got really thick like cartilage in them, or really thick leaders on that cartilage, and sometimes it's hard to get them to release. Just going to work it up. Not going to go all the way to the tip. I'm going to stay about a quarter, maybe a ½ inch away from the edge. If you go all the way up, you take a risk of busting it, splitting it, which it can be fixed. Don't worry, your first few you are going to mess up on. Do not let it affect you, because you're going to get so into worrying about, if you're like me anyhow, and that's one reason why it was so difficult on me. I was just so worried to death about messing something up. But basically, you're just going to stick them in there, open it, close it, open it, close it. And a tip that helps you, whenever you stick it in and you pry open and you release back down, twist it. What that does is it lets that skin, you'll hear it. You'll hear that pop. It won't be that loud, but basically you'll hear that right there. And it'll release, and that skin won't be stuck down in there. Then once you have that, you reach in, invert it. Take your scalpel, go through here the rest of this skin and release it. A tip I'm going to show y'all, something that I was showed that really helped me out. That's the leaders that I'm talking about right there, or some of them anyhow. So when I first started out, I was taking this blade and running my finger up inside and getting it underneath, and I would go through here and do this right here. And you don't have to do that. Sometimes you do on certain ones when you have some that's all boogered up and we're trying to bust on you and stuff. It just is what it is. But typically when you get them to this stage right here, all you do is grab a hold of it with your thumb and pull it. You'll hear them little leaders and tissue and stuff break free. You'll see it. You can kind of see already the edge of that cartilage, where versus here, and you can kind of see the little leader lines are still stuck. That's what was here. I mean, it's simple as that. Dude, look, I would have, the first ears I did, I had roughly 2 hours per ear. I'm telling y'all, I said, man, if this is how this is going to be, I am never doing this again. It's just I couldn't find anything. I got that ear split right there, right on the corner. And all you got to do, well, it's doing it already, so that's good. Actually worked out perfect. But all you got to do is practice. It does get better. So right here where I was talking about where the little gland hole at the corner, bottom of the ear here, you can see that little ridge. That's skin. You don't want to cut here or you're going to end up having a big hole in it. So right where it comes down and hits that cartilage, that's where I'm going to cut the inner part of the ear off. And once you make that cut, you can see the inside of that ear. I just stay as close as I can to that. And then just whack her off. All right, so now I'm gonna take a butcher steel. I'm gonna stick on the inside of the ear. See if I can get this in frame. Very carefully, we're gonna push that up to the tip. Just take your time. I'll probably stab it through, but if you do stab it through, it's not the end of the world. Once you have the tip pushed all the way up, now you can take the edge of that butcher steel and roll your edges. And that helps get it, oh. All right, so I'm glad I did that right here. That right there let me know that I was all the way to the edge. And like I said, it's not the end of the world. You're gluing it. So all you gotta do is put it back. It's gonna be just fine. You can sew it if you want, but typically you use Pro 1 and stuff. It works out just good, or just fine. I can't even talk today. All right, so we've got everything out to the edge. Now we got to remove the cartilage. Typically what I do is I just fold the ear down in half. Score it a little bit. You don't want to go too much or you're going to cut the inside of your ear. You're just going to score it just enough to where it'll fold and crease real easy. And then you're going to go through. You can see that blue line. That means you're all the way down to the skin. So you don't want to go no farther. You're going to do that all the way across. Alright, now that we got that all the way across, I'm going to take, it helps to have a little bit of fingernails. Just going to pop it up. And voila, there's the tip. Same thing on the bottom. Pop it up. And it makes it easier if you'll take your finger and go underneath and use it to pry against. Just stick your thumb in there. And you want to go all the way across at the same time. Kind of helps you prevent ripping anything, which you are going to rip them. You're going to get some that just, that's what they do. They just got, their skin is so thin that's just the name of the game, but that's part of being a taxidermist. Now I just stick my thumb, once I've got it almost to the end, I'm gonna stick my thumb inside and I'm just gonna push. Pushing against the cartilage until my thumb sticks through, just like so. Then I'll mash a little bit just to open it up. I'm gonna take my knife and stick it right in that hole. I'm gonna split that cartilage in two. And then just work it around till you get it all the way to the end. Same thing on the other side. I'm gonna grab them both, pull it off, throw them away, and you'll notice you're gonna have just a little piece right there. And I'll take my finger and go inside there just to have it something underneath. Take my scalpel and just clean that little bit off. Carefully, try not to cut yourself. Alright, that's got that ear split and turned. We're gonna get all this other stuff off whenever we get ready to flesh him, or thin him, I'm sorry. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and do the other ear and we'll start on the eyes. Alright, so I'll take a fleshing cone and stick it through the eye socket. And what I do is I come right here where the croncula is, this little piece right here in the very corner of the eye. I'm gonna make me a cut. Make sure y'all can see all this. I'm gonna make me a cut right there. Then I'm gonna grab everything, make sure I've got my tear duct out of the way so I don't cut a hole in it. I'm gonna cut this all the way down to the blue, and I'll explain the blue here in a second. So as you're cutting this meat and tissue and everything that's here, you're gonna start seeing it lighten up. See all that right there, that bluish tint right there? That's what I'm talking about. That's down to the skin. I want to get all this cut all the way down to that layer. I swap over, go to the other side of the croncula, make that cut. Making sure I don't cut into my tear duct. Cut it all the way down to the blue. And then what what I like to do, because I use a pen, like on my competition stuff, you got to show the cruncula and everything. You can rebuild it with epoxy, but with commercial work, I like to just come in, leave a little bit, because I'm gonna stick a pin in this when I set my eye. So I like to have a little bit exposed there. That just gives something for that pin to grab a hold of and stick it into the foam. You're gonna have like a gristly type gland that runs from the corner of the cronk, and you can kind of see it right there. It typically runs all the way down. You're gonna cut it all the way out, and you're just staying down to the blue all the way. And I just get down to where it makes the fold into the tear duct, and I'll stop right there for now. Now, I don't use any tucking skin whatsoever. So what I do is I pull this up, I get right where the oil sacs, the oil glands in the eyelids are, and I go very carefully right through them, splitting them, and I just make me a cut all the way around. Now this takes time, guys. You're gonna have to practice it for sure. But if you want to leave tucking skin, all you have to do, instead of going right the corner of it, you just leave you about a 1/4 of an eighth right here. Make that cut like so, and then trim it out and unfold it, just split it, and then that skin will fold over. Now typically, to do the salting, or I use salt and stuff. I'm gonna be doing a sodium sulfate in this video with this deer, but typically all you really have to do on this stage is get all of your meat and fat off, your red meat. You don't have to get all the way down like I'm doing now, but I like, since I'm already here, I'm gonna go ahead and do it, because it's really, you're already here doing it. It's really pointless if you don't, in my eyes. It don't take just a couple extra minutes to just go ahead and do it. Yes, you're gonna have to come back and thin it, but it just makes it that much more easier. Same thing, I go with the back corner of the eye. I make me a slit all the way down to the blue. All the way, just like that. Very carefully, just thin it on out. And what I do is, I don't get it all off right now. I just keep working myself all the way around. And I'll do it all at the same time here in a second. Alright, now I'm gonna start right where we started our cuts the first time. This is why I like this longer blade. I can sit here and mash my thumb up against it. Just gives me more control of my blade. I'm gonna go down. When you start seeing the hair roots of your eyelashes or your eyebrows, you don't want to go any farther right now. You want to try not to cut them little bulbs. If you do, you're going to lose that eyelash. It's not a big deal if you do lose it. If you want to keep it, keep it. You can always glue it back in later. It'd help if I get this in y'all's view where y'all can see it. I just work it all the way down. You can go as far as you want to. Keeping it down to the blue as close as I can. And typically when I get to about right in there, I'll come through and just cut this off. Now we'll go to the other side. Do the same thing. And we're going to come in later after this thing is pickled and tanned and thin this down even more. Now we're just going to cut this side off. Now we're going to get the tear duct. I like to take the corner of that fleshing ball Stick it up in there. Let's see if I can get this all in video. Same thing, very carefully keeping as close to blue as you can. And you got to be careful because it will try to roll on you inside there. So you want to make sure you're very careful and not cut through it, because this gets thin. I don't know if you can see it on the video or not, but that yellowish tint right there, that's the fleshing cone. And there may be an easier way to do all this. This is just the way I do it and have good success doing it, so I ain't never changed. I just poked a little hole in there, but that'd be alright. Don't worry guys, you're gonna poke holes. If you ain't poking holes, you ain't doing it. If you ain't poking holes, you ain't getting thin enough. Now, once I've got it pretty much around the row of that tear duct, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take this fleshing ball and I'm going to put the round part of it up in there, the big part. What that does is flatten that out wider enough where I can get a bigger cutting surface. Now I can go through, get the rest of it all off. Pretty much has this side. So there's this side. As you can tell, I've went pretty good ways all the way around. And before I get ready to pickle this thing, everything, what I'm going to do is, instead of putting it on a fleshing beam and using my knife, I like going to my fleshing machine, my round wheel, and I'm gonna clean all this up just to get a nice even cut all the way around. But there's that side. I'm gonna go ahead and knock the other side out real quick, and then we'll move on to turning the lips. All right guys, that's got both eyes. So now what we're going to do is we're going to turn the lips. That's where I like to use this 23 again. and I'm just going to get my blade started in between the skin. So you want to go the gum line, okay? We want to split this lip from the hairs all the way, okay? I'm going to stick my knife inside and I'm going to follow that edge all the way around. Keeping my fingers, my thumb and my index finger in between the blade all the way. This is super easy to do. It just takes a little bit of time to learn. You're just going to take your time and work it around. This blade's just a little on the dull side. With a real fresh blade, this is like butter. Alright, so we made it all the way around. Now we're going to turn it all out. Find you a place to start. I kind of start at the bottom lip. You're just going to make sure you roll it, get it cut all the way down to the edge. Keeping the point of your knife blade facing towards the top of the lip is best. Don't go down or you're going to cut through. Now we're just splitting that lip. Make sure it's split all the way. Follow your edge all the way around. And you'll know, you can feel it. You take your finger and go on the back side and your thumb and kind of roll it. You'll feel a little roll. So right there, I just cut through it, which is fine. That's inside the tucking skin, so it's all going to be tucked in. All right, let's get the lips turned. Now we're going to move on to the nose. So first thing I like to do is I'm going to take the septum out. I'll just run right at the base of it, all the way. Both sides make a cut. Go and cut it out. I like to take my fleshing cone, stick up inside. I'm gonna go ahead and change my blade real quick. Typically got another scalpel in here, but I've got it in the garage where I was using it the other day to open up some boxes. And I just scar me a line. And I'm gonna go all the way down till I see leaders and hair roots. Till I see the blueness of that nose pad. And I'm gonna come through. And I typically trying to say I typically push this up against my chest where I keep it pretty stable, but I can't really do it and get it all on film, so we're gonna go with it like this. And you ain't gotta get all the way down completely. You just want to get as much of this off as you can so that the salt and pickle and everything will penetrate. But there again, like the eyes and stuff, I'm gonna go ahead and get what I can while I'm here. I'm already here, so why not? And I'm gonna go ahead and get me another blade. Alright, I'm going to take my flesh cone, stick it through the nostril. Corner of the nose pad, cut through that cartilage. Go around. Making sure I'm all the way through to the skin. Alright, I've got that down far enough. I'm just going to cut this excess off. Same thing on the other side. I just go through, cut it all off. You don't want all that in your pickle. Now, let's look and see what all we've did so far. So far, we've turned the ears, split and turned them. We split and turned our eyes. We split and turned our lips and our nostrils. Now what we gotta do is we gotta get all this red meat and everything off. So you can sit here and do this all on a fleshing beam. You can use this cone. So what I like to do is I like to run it on my fleshing machine. So let me get set up and we'll go over there. Very carefully. All I'm doing is removing this red meat, thick tissue and stuff. I'm not worried about getting it super thin. I'll do that later. Right now I'm just getting all this meat and everything off. I can go through, I can get a lot of this off quicker doing this than I can on a fleshing machine, or I'm sorry, fleshing beam. It's just what I started doing, so it's what I like to do. You'll realize once you start doing this work, you'll come on your own, you'll come up with your own system, which is one of them things. Red meat and fat, you've got to remove it. I'm not going to go through and get none of this because here in a second I'm going to pressure wash. I'm going to show y'all what I do there. But around the face I try to get what I can. I don't like running a pressure washer up against the face that much. I'll just show y'all my pressure washer. So what I use, mine's just a DeWalt 3400 PSI. And the tip that I use is just a turbo tip. You can buy them at hardware store, Lowe's, Home Depot, whatever. But here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna show y'all what this will actually do. Y'all have to excuse the mess on the end of the table. I just got done pressure washing one earlier. But y'all see all this belly meat and stuff that's still on the brisket? Y'all see how thick that is? This pressure washer is going to blow that off. Good tip. Clamps. Live over and do the same thing. 10 times faster than a flesh and bean. Y'all guess what I'm gonna do now? That's right, the hair side. This is gonna match, get any of that blood. We'll get all the blood, ticks, anything like that. We're not gonna go on the hair. We're gonna stay up. So now after we got him pressure washed, I'm gonna hang him up. Try to drain everything that I can out of him. So we're gonna sodium sulfate him. And we want him drained as much as we can get. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to spin him out. I'm going to spin him out in the wash machine. So we're going to take him, transfer him over here. And we're going to do this several times. We're going to spin all the water out of him that we possibly can. All right, now that we got him spinned out, let's get the hair side fairly dry. You still got to deal with the skin side. So what I like doing is turn him skin side out. I'm going to put him in a towel. I'm going to towel dry him. I'll do everything I can to get this thing as dry as I can get him before I sodium sulfate him. And we're going to cut some of this hide off, I believe. Alright. So now that we got that, I'm gonna take another towel. Make sure his face and everything's laid out right. I like to take this ear, lay it out, roll this underneath. I'm gonna take this other towel. I'm just gonna lay right on top. And I'm just gonna roll him up. Fold him and just squeeze and mash him down. And I'm gonna let him sit there for a minute. Just let him sit there for a minute and he'll soak up into that towel, and then we'll be ready to sodium sulfate him. Alright, now that we got him about as dry as we can get him, what we're going to do is go over here in this box. I've got sodium sulfate in it. And I'm going to cover this thing just like you would with salt. Going to rub this stuff all in it. Rubbing it in is better than pouring it on. And I'll go over spots 2 or 3 different times, just making sure we got it all coated real well. I'll take him over here to the sink. I'm gonna hang him. And I'm gonna let that sit there for about 3 to 6 hours. And then as soon as after he gets done draining and everything, we're gonna take and we're gonna rinse him up, rehydrate him a little bit, and then we're gonna go in the pickle. Right now, I'm gonna show y'all how to make a pickle. So I'm gonna be doing a formic acid pickle. All right, it's pretty dangerous. It's not a safety acid, so Don't breathe it if you do decide to go this route. Very dangerous. I like wearing gloves. So first thing I'm gonna do, so I've got 3 gallons of water, three pounds of salt. I'm gonna use a pound per gallon of water. So I'm gonna dump that into my bucket. I'm gonna take my water. And this just kind of helps mix everything up. Let's get him out of there. And I like to mix every step. So next, what we're going to do is we're going to add our acid. And we're going to add 8 ounces. I'm probably going to be leaning more towards 9, somewhere between 8 to 9. You should be all right. This is a 3-ounce cup. You do not want to breathe this stuff. There's 3. Six. Got just enough. It's going to be about 8.5 probably. Now once that stuff hits the water, it's safe. You can touch it. It's not going to hurt anything. Can't get these suckers off. We're gonna mix. And we're gonna add 1 ounce of tanning oil. This is Pro 1. Well, just made a mess in the floor. Now we're going to add 3 ounces of Paratan. Alright, once you've got that mixed up, you want to check the pH. It needs to be between a 1.5 and 2.0. And we're sitting pretty much in between, so we're in good shape. So whenever our cape gets done draining and everything, we're going to rinse him off and we'll put him in the pickle. So I'll see y'all here in a few. All right, y'all. We have we've been letting this thing dry out for a little while. And that sodium sulfate, I don't know what it is, but I absolutely love this stuff. But what we're gonna do So we're going to wash all this off. Give me 1 second. We'll get all this washed off and we're going to get it in the pickle. Y'all can see it's done kind of clean, which that pressure washing does really good with pushing all them fluids out, along with that sodium sulfate. I mean, this cake right here is still raw. I mean, it's not even had anything done to it other than pressure washing and sitting with sodium sulfate on it for several hours. Alright. I'm just trying to squeeze out as much water as I possibly can. You don't want to, you don't want this thing to be just slopping wet going in there. Yes, I'm gonna grab this towel right here. Alright. We'll stir this pickle up. And we go. And you just want to mix it in real good, making sure it all gets coated well. And we're going to continue to do this about 2 or 3 different times each day for 3 days. We'll soak it for 3 days and we're going to turn it, mix it around real good each day, 2 to 3 times each day, to make sure every bit of that skin is getting coated and nothing's being left untouched. That's it. Gonna do this for 3 days and then we'll be ready to pull this thing out. All right, y'all, we got this thing out of the pickle and now we are fixing to dry him off just a little bit, and we're gonna go over here and thin him down. Get ready to tan this thing and get him on a form. Right now I'm just gonna get kind of an even cut on him. Alright, so we're going to neutralize this thing now. And typically all I do is I take 5 gallons of water. Hopefully I've got enough baking soda. It's around 2. 1. It's around 2 tablespoons per gallon. There's 2. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let her soak. About 30-45 minutes. Just got to make sure that you wash all neutralization off of it, all that baking soda. Rinse it out real good, wring it out. Then we're gonna go over here to the wash machine and spin him dry. Alright. Yeah, we got him dry enough. I like to take a towel and just wrap him up. Try to get him as dry as you can. It ain't got to be 100% dry, but you don't want it. You want it dry enough to be able to absorb this tanning oil. I'm using Pro 1 tanning oil. You can use whichever you want, but the Pro 1 does a really good job. For some apparent reason, I can't get this thing straight. And in the morning, which is going to be here in just a few seconds for y'all, but as soon as I wash all this tanning oil off in the morning, we're going to go back to that fleshing machine, and y'all are going to get to see exactly how thin you can get these things. Oh, I done about got ahead of myself. So we're just going to wrap this thing up. And it don't take much. You're just going to squeeze it all out that you can. The longer you let it sit in here, the better it gets. And you can take this and go over there and put it in the wash machine and spin it with the towel on it. But just for video's sake, we're not going to do that. We're just going to go with her. Alright. I like to go behind the ear butts here, just to get where that towel didn't get up in them creases. And I know some guys will probably say you're doing this all backwards, but I have really good success doing this, so just showing y'all what I do. Just gonna pour it on. And I need gloves, but I ain't got them. Probably using more than what I really need, but I'm gonna go ahead and give it in here. And now all you're gonna do is fold it up, make sure everything's been covered. I like to keep everything skin to skin. Fold that over. Skin to skin. Then we're going to set this thing over on the side and we're going to let it sweat all night.